Hello. So as part of our previous video, we have seen that like how this authentications, like although this basic authentications, or you can say the client ID and client credential, as we have added into our MCP server. Okay. So let me quickly take the recap. Okay. This authentications we have already added through our own new session listeners. Okay, where we are dealing with the two kinds of the authentications. One is the client ID and client secret, and second is the with the user ID and password. So that is the same, the client ID and client secret, but that is getting passed as part of the MCP clients. So that is going to convert as a basic auth. Okay, so that we have seen. Okay, now I just try to also test this. Okay, what happens if we are going to use our Agentforce, okay, and which we have already designed and developed. Okay, and that agent is going to invoke our MCP server. So this MCP server is already defined here. Okay, and this is deployed. Okay, now if you remember my previous video where we have did this Agentforce implementations. Okay, so what happened there, we have created one of the, let me see this, one of the API. Okay, uh, which is the through the ACB. Okay, and this is the open API specifications. So that we have created this as a customer case management API, which has been containing few details like the fetch case details. Okay, along with this like the parameters, the request body and response body. Okay, so these I think similar for the create case record, similar for the fetch case details by case ID, and update case status. So these although we have covered, just like I think I'm giving the overview, so we'll be in the sync. Okay, so these things I have already created. Okay, and along with that I have done this implementation of the create case records. Okay, get case details. Okay, and this is the MCP client, we can say, that is for the our Agentforce, and this has been already deployed as part of the API catalog or topic centers. Okay, so let's quickly see this. Okay, so here we go to the setup. Okay, so if you go to the API catalog, so here this is the customer case management API, which is already deployed. Okay, and let's see here. So all the specific like path, the endpoint like create case record, update case, fetch case, and fetch case details, this has been already activated. Okay, so the anypoint platform or Salesforce org, they are connected. Okay, and although we have deployed here, but that has been as part of the API catalog, this has been loaded over here. Okay, so here you can see these connections and the operations. Okay, if you go to the mule, okay, let me see, this is the case Agentforce API. This is up and running. Okay, and this implementation is similar kind of our MCP client. Okay, which we have covered into one of our videos. So similar way, this MCP client, only thing is in the MCP client our specifications was not intact. Here this specification is intact because we have implemented, and all the endpoints which you have, that has been scaffold happened here. Okay, if you see, so that is the just different. Without this specification, this is the with specification, and this specification is compatible with the Agentforce. So if you see here, this is not the simple rammer. If you see this XSFDC agent topics, okay, so these are the details are there. which is going to like treat as a Agentforce specifications. Okay, so let me see this get case details by case ID. If you see here, okay, uh, we are not not passing any additional properties over here. Correct, means the client ID and client credential is not getting passed, whatever the basic auth or something. Okay, if you go here, MCP client, this is our server where we have deployed. Okay, and I am not passing any authentications over there as well. Okay, so let's see how this is going to behave. Okay, whether this is going to connect with this MCP or not. Okay, so this has been already deployed. Okay, so what I'm going to do, okay, what I'm going to do, my agent is already there here. Okay, see, this agent is already not this, here is the agent, so that I have imported as part of the asset library. Okay, I'm going here. Okay, again, and let me see, let me take the example of this case. Okay, and let me ask this page a case details. Okay, where case ID is this. Okay, so we will see in two things. Okay, what is the, so it's saying that like something like action launch phase case details, it is the 500 error. Okay, let's see the two places what is the error. So once things we are going to see into the Agentforce API logs. Okay, what is the error, the reason of the error. So here you can say this is the MCP errors. Okay, and this is the fetch case details. So although it is going to hit the MCP server, okay, but problem is it is not going to fetch because MCP server returns some of the error. Okay, so what is that error? If you are going to see here, MCP server. Okay, so here you can see it is clearly saying that reject means invalid or missing client ID, client secret. Okay, so here you can see as part of this auth, okay, we don't have anything like either client ID or client secret. Okay, or nor we have the basic auth. Okay, so which means that we are supposed to pass this either client ID or client secret or the basic authentications, otherwise it's not going to pass this. Okay, so what I'm going to go, let me fix this. Okay, and then I will show you how this is going to work. Okay, okay, so what I did in order to make sure that authentication is going to happen, okay, with this client, okay, which is compatible with the Agentforce. Okay, I, similar to our the previous one where the this in client, I pass this client secret and client ID. Okay, so if you see for each and every one, like get details by case number, what I did, I just passing the client ID and client secret. Okay, as part of this additional properties. Okay, if you notice that, or if you remember that in our this MCP client one videos. Okay, along with this URL, what I did, along with this authentications, I just passed this username and password. So use the basic authentication, and this is nothing but I have put the this client ID and client secret into my properties file, or you can say the YAML file. Okay, and the same is getting passed over here. Okay, so in that way, whenever the client is going to interact with our MCP server, this is going to consider as a our basic authentications. Okay, and in the additional properties of the MCP server, we are going to see as a this authorizations. Okay, so we'll try to now see. So what I did, I make these changes. Okay, and I deployed over here. If you see, this is the new MCP server. Okay, and if you see here, this Agentforce, okay, that has been deployed recently. Okay, so what I am trying to do, okay, let me go to this Agentforce. Okay, so this is the same things which I have imported from the assets library. Okay, So if you see, this is the customer management. Okay, so this is the this API catalog, so asset library, so that has a I have just imported. Okay, so once you are going to import from here, okay, so you are going to see all these actions which are available against this topic. So these are the action: create case, update case, these all are coming here. Okay, so let me quickly go over here. Okay, and what I can do, okay, let me say hi. Okay, just let me take one example of this case ID. Okay, and what I'm saying that, okay, can you fetch case details against case ID? Okay, so see, it's asking please provide the case ID to the fetch detail, to fetch the details. Okay, so I'm giving this case ID, just submit it. Okay. So it's fetching the case details. Now we are going to see what happened here and MCP server. Both we are going to see. Okay. So it's better to first see the MCP server. Okay. Definitely without the authentications, it's not going to pass. Okay. So here the MCP server return the case details. But prior to that, if you see here, we are going to authenticate that particular session. Okay, so here this has been authenticated and this is the authorizations. Okay, if the client ID and client secret was passed, so we are going to get these two fields, uh, client ID and client secret. Okay, but since we are our MCP client is using that client ID and client secret as part of your the basic auth. Okay, so this is the reason we are getting this as a authorizations. Okay, so once it is going to authenticate it, it is going to return this against the case ID. Okay, so how we are going to see that? So let's go to the Agentforce one. Okay, just see into log. Okay, so here you can say we are able to see this account this response against this case ID. Okay, so this is the how, if suppose we have designed and developed our already any Agentforce compatible uh, implementations, okay, through Mule, and if we need to like add these authentications to make sure like it is going to authenticate, so either our this basic auth or maybe this auth protocol, whichever is applicable, we can able to like make the changes. Okay, and this is going to be the authenticators from the MCP server, although this request is coming from your Agentforce and which is going to hit by your this MuleSoft implemented client. So hope you are going to explore by yourself and you like this video. Okay, thanks for your time.